Hello and welcome to episode 45 of Mo Money, the investing and economics show for millennials by a millennial, where our goal is to educate, entertain, and empower a new generation of investors. I am, of course, the host of it all, MC Mo. In most people's opinions, the months following the election of Trump have been ones of darkness and national embarrassment. To me, that seems a bit overdramatic, although there is some basis for that point of view. But through all of these things, I have noticed a rise in voluntarism and charitable giving. One example is during Trump's first Muslim ban executive order, when people from Middle Eastern and African countries were being detained at airports and refused entry into America. You saw protests at these airports, which is good and all, but more importantly, you saw lawyers showing up en masse at the airport during their free time to help these people who are being treated unlawfully and offer their expertise of the law to these people for free. Right after the election, nonprofits like Planned Parenthood, who were badmouthed by Trump all during his campaign, received 80,000 donations in just 3 days. The ACLU received $7.2 million in 5 days after the election, which brings us to this week's topic. Not is Trump the biggest asshole ever, we can debate that at another time, but rather, with all these people stepping up to help, is the government's role in helping people even necessary? The immediate reaction upon raising the question of whether government entitlement programs are necessary from those who support these government entitlement programs is always first shock, and then stuttering rage, and then once their thoughts are collected, it's just a furious, uncontainable rage. To propose cutting things like Social Security, food stamps, Medicaid, etc. is basically the equivalent of telling people how much you'd like to go on a murdering spree where your main targets are going to be poor and sick people. Entitlement programs are good and for the benefit of a society. That is the status quo perception. So to challenge that, one should expect that type of reaction. So if the government is not providing this safety net, then who is going to help them? The answer is the free market, in the form of private charities. Private charities would replace government entitlement programs. Now, this proposed solution may baffle some, especially those who feel like all human beings are inherently bad people. But I was raised to think differently, or one could say naively, to think that the majority of people are good, and when push comes to shove, a majority of the time, people will help people and do the right thing. Just look at the examples that I mentioned before. No government was forcing those people to donate to those programs. Look at Chance the Rapper. His donation of $1 million to Chicago schools has been getting tons of attention. After meeting with the mayor, he felt disappointed and discouraged about government. So what did he do? He said, fuck the government, I'll fund it myself, because I have a child, so I want to help other people with children put their kids into good schools. So would a country of no government safety net look more like a beautiful society where people realize that they need to help each other because they know it's their responsibility? Or would it be a dystopian wasteland where the poor and sick die out on the streets whilst those with money are even richer than before? So let's break down both sides of this argument in this week's topic: private charities versus government entitlements. First thing to discuss is funding. The government can more easily fund these programs than a private charity can because the government has a guaranteed money maker. It's called taxes. See what happens if you don't pay your taxes. Uncle Sam will show up with a SWAT team full of his friends and they'll seize all of your assets, your bank accounts, your homes, your cars, your kids, your wife, your dogs, all theirs. That's not even being dramatic. They will do that. Maybe not the kids and the wife and the dog parts, but they'll show up. I've said it before, the IRS is the most vicious and ruthless gang in American history. These are the motherfuckers who brought down Al Capone. Private charities do not have this guarantee. In the highly unlikely event that a flood strikes in Los Angeles and the Red Cross needs money for disaster relief and everyone else in the country is like, fuck Los Angeles! Those people suck! They deserve it! Those people are pompous assholes with their year-round summer, good-looking people. Let them drown. I'm not helping. There is nothing that the Red Cross can do. They cannot show up at my house with an AK-47, make me strip butt naked, and make me give them all the passwords for my account. The best that they could do is run a commercial with the sad Sarah McLachlan music and the Platinum Valley girls in knee-high water crying about their Mercedes-Benz being ruined. The truth is, without the government saying pay or die or go to jail, a lot of people might get sick or even die. Annually, Americans give about $250 billion to charity. Social Security alone costs $1.3 trillion. Then you have food stamps, Medicaid, Medicare, veteran benefits, etc. There is a huge gap. Now, it may seem like game, set, match right there. There's no point even discussing cutting entitlement programs in exchange for private charity. But the major problem with the problem that we just pointed out, which was the funding gap, is that these programs are already too expensive. That's where private organizations are best. Studies have shown a phenomena called the 70-30 rule, or the 30-70 rule, depending on which side you're talking about. The 70-30 rule is quite simple. You pay your taxes. $1 of your tax goes to a government program designed to feed the poor. After factoring in all of the administrative costs of running that program, that one tax dollar of yours will be reduced by 70% to 30 cents. It's like this much. That is what is eventually being given to the poor. 70% of government tax dollars are wasted on administrative costs. 30% end up actually going to their causes, whatever they may be. Now take the flip side of that. On average, most private charities are 30-70, aka 30% of donations go towards administrative costs, while 70% goes to the charity's cause. Imagine that you have two friends with a GoFundMe campaign. The first fund says, looking to raise $10,000 to open up a rescue shelter, $3,000 of which will be used to buy dogs, beds, foods, shots, etc. The other $7,000 will be used for me and my friends and I to go get shit-faced at the club. Friend number 2 says, looking to raise only $5,000 for a dog shelter. 70% of it will be going directly to the dogs. The other 30% to paying for rent, workers, vets, etc. 70% of $5,000 is $3,500. Those dogs are getting $500 more with half the money. So yeah, maybe the government guarantee of tax dollar funding is more comforting, knowing that it'll be there, but not if it's so carelessly wasted. We should not defend these entitlement programs with such disregard for the obvious fact that they are highly inefficient. Charities in a free market system operate the same as a profit-driven company. If people find out that you're wasting money or that you're fraudulent, you bring zero real value to people, you will be eliminated. Only the strong survive, and that is a good thing. That means real value is being created by this charity. Government programs have no incentive to be efficient or create maximum value with the money that they're given because they will receive money regardless. Because like the great Milton Friedman once said, there is nothing so permanent as a temporary government program. Now the final point I'll make is that money talks. The way we spend our money, in my opinion, says louder what we want than when we vote. The same goes for when we donate. People donate to things that they care about. When you're taxed, your money is no longer talking on your behalf. If that was still so, my money would be saying, I love fucking blowing up people in the Middle East so fucking much. Nobody pays their taxes with joy. Nobody looks at their paychecks and sees 30% missing and thinking, I'm help feeding the poor. There is not the same type of gratification when you pay your taxes. When people donate, they feel that same instant gratification as when they buy a new pair of shoes. That's what keeps people donating, the high they get from helping. Look at guys like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, even Rockefeller and Carnegie back in the day realized at the end of their lives,
oh shit, I have so much money, I need to start donating.
You could say that it was all for their legacy, but who really gives a shit why? The point I'm making is when people feel a direct connection to their donations and their causes, people perceive the immediate benefit more. When you see the government spending $25,000 on a Smokey the Bear laundromat or $15 million for golf club technology in space, all of which are real things that the government spent money on, you think, wow, that's ridiculous. Why do I even pay taxes? If I could have my taxes reduced by $30, I could donate that to a music education fund, a soup kitchen, literally anything else other than funding our country's love of war and dead people. Bottom line, as our country has aged, we have prospered. We've become richer. We often feel it's up to the government to help those who are left behind on the way up. But as Nobel Prize winning economist Milton Friedman once said, in regards to helping the poor and less fortunate, the government doesn't have any responsibility. People have responsibility. You and I have responsibility. The government has been fighting poverty for 50 years since Lyndon Johnson. And guess what has happened to the poverty rate? Absolutely nothing. It has stayed within the same range. Trillions of dollars essentially wasted trying to help eliminate poverty has done nothing. If one says it's immoral to want to cut entitlement programs, one could retort it's immoral to keep them going, for they have helped absolutely nobody. People are still starving. People are still poor. People are still unemployed. The social safety net, which was designed to catch people who fell on hard times, has now turned into the social spiderweb, keeping people trapped in poverty. The capital could be rerouted to more productive causes that create jobs and better standings of living, or use that money for charitable causes much more efficiently, thus creating more value and a truly greater good. That is moral. That is good. Politicians can jerk themselves off over fighting and protecting these programs, but when people realize there are more efficient alternatives to truly helping people, and they realize the wastefulness and the stupidity of these politicians, they won't be patting themselves on the back for very long. We need to stop hurling insults, erupting in rage, painting devil horns upon those who question government programs, and ask the tough question, which is, are these the most efficient ways of helping people and creating maximum value for society? Until then, the less fortunate will continue to drift along wondering, will it ever get any better for me? Thank you so much for watching another episode of Mo Money. To find new and classic episodes, just visit our YouTube page. For now, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. Like me on Facebook.
Mo Money signing out.